What does living in your truth look like? And what false narrative have you been living in? Guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all, stay elevated, create that infinity, and up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah. Forgive me if I sound a little congested and under the weather. Allergies, y'all. They're destroyers of life. But I wanted to get this out to you guys. It's so cool, like when you kind of leave your environment, right? You leave your environment, you're not doing the same things that you typically do on any given day. And you have these new experiences come along. And in those new experiences, you get to understand what role you play, how you feel, right? Who you are to a certain degree, right? And I think it's most noticeable. For me, it's most noticeable around the people I feel safest with, where I can just come alive, be myself, do my thing. And what I've noticed is like, you are not the false narrative that either you keep reading and rewriting, or the narrative that somebody else wrote for you. And I say that because, who was I talking to recently? We were talking about the whole concept of being shy. Like, as a kid, you're told, oh, yeah, they're just shy. They're just this. And then you start to wear that narrative throughout life and you realize, am I shy or am I just introverted and people don't know how to deal with that? So they label it as shy. Oh, there's just some kind of defect with you, right? You are not capable of something, right? Shyness is, as polite as it is, it can be kind of a criticism, right? Oh, you're shy. You lack confidence, right? Um, you don't feel secure enough in yourself. So you're shy, right? If we unpack what shyness is, yeah, that could be true to some degree. As a kid, you may be a little bit more shy in certain environments because, hey, you don't know who the hell you're around. But as you get older, or even as a kid sometimes, maybe you're not shy. You just don't trust the environment that you exist in, right? Maybe that's what it is. I don't trust this environment that I exist in. And that's fine. That is totally fine. It's funny, growing up, I was a shy kid. I was a shy kid, but if I think back to some of my previous experiences as a kid, it's not only that I was shy, it was also that there were people I didn't necessarily feel connected to, right? It's funny, growing up, dancing was my thing. Like, dancing was kind of always my thing. Your boy can move, still got it. However, it was never something that I was encouraged to do it, like, or I'd be pushed to do it versus me always wanting to feel like, oh, this is a space I can do it in, right? And that could be my own thing, my own reservations, or just not feeling like I exist in that space. And even now, it's kind of still the same process, right? And I think about the whole concept of shyness now versus back when I was a kid. It's like nowadays, it's not necessarily that I'm shy. I'm just reading the room. That's how I like to think about it. I'm just reading the room. And I'm figuring out where is my seat in this room. Some people may perceive it as shy, but it's like if you constantly tell yourself you're shy, it kind of limits your ability to just be who you are versus the narrative that somebody else is placing on you, right? Sometimes people may be uncomfortable with your silence because they are uncomfortable with silence in general. So it has to be something that you are doing wrong. There's this book, Quiet, that talks about introversion. And I haven't finished it yet, but it just talks about the many different ways that society kind of plants this seed of doubt or like, I don't know, discouragement in a lot of ways. If you are not the thing, if you are not the status quo, it is so revealing. I was talking to someone and they were saying how someone else was labeling their child as shy, their child as shy. Like, you don't get to tell me who my kid is, right? In that space. Because when my kid is around me, my kid is around people that they feel comfortable with, well, they vibe. And that's the confidence I want them to keep. Is like, yes, you are your own person. And you get to read a room, right? And think about this in another way, like later in life, when you have disagreements or you have separation with others, and you're so concerned with, oh, what are they going to tell other people about me, etc. Who cares? To a certain degree, who cares? Because you're not around, right? You don't have to experience that person anymore. And then the people they're talking to are people they feel comfortable enough to be dishonest with, right? Think about that. These are people that they feel comfortable enough to be dishonest with. If you think about it, oh, they're going to tell everybody I was bad, I was this, whatever. Okay. The fact that they are willing to do that goes to show who they are. And depending on the company, it goes to show who they are as well, right? So it's important to ask yourself, like, what narrative am I holding on to? And even going a little bit deeper, if there are things that you are looking to do with your life, what false narrative are you holding on to that keeps you kind of pigeonholed in what you're doing now? Oh, I can't do this because I'm doing this, right? Or like, I've been in this job for so long, it would be stupid to leave it. Is it bringing you fulfillment? Is it bringing you personal development? Do you feel like you're advancing? Do you feel like you're appreciated? Or do you feel like this just keeps things what they are? And within that, do you feel that this is all that you're capable of? Because I can guarantee you it's not, by a long shot. By a long shot. I can guarantee you that is not the only thing you're capable of. Not even close. Does this story have a character arc? Does the narrative that you live, does it have a character arc? Right? Where is the character development in this story? Or are they just flat? It's funny because even as I write stories myself, it's something that I think about. Is this character interested? Do they grow at all? What is happening? Do they ever leave the room, quote unquote? Get them to the next room. You have to ask yourself, am I getting to the next room or am I just pacing back and forth in the same room? Because if you're pacing, you are not getting anywhere. You're just making imprints in the carpet. You're scratching up the fabric, and while it feels like you're in motion, you're not going anywhere. That's why they say, busyness is not always productivity. Because you can be busy doing absolutely nothing. So you got to think about, all right, what narrative am I currently living now, and what narrative do I want to kind of change? What narrative do I want to exist in? What's my character arc? At one point, all right, cool. Let's say, for the sake of argument, yeah, I'm a shy person. However, where do I feel like I come alive? Who's around when I'm like my most authentic self, where I feel like I can expand? Who is around? Why do these people bring out that side of me? Why do they get to experience that aspect of me? What is it about these people that they get to just see me? Is it because they actually see me? Sometimes you are not the things that other people like to label you as so they can feel comfortable about who they are, who they are not. You have choice to rewrite the narrative, but writing takes a lot. Character building takes a hell of a lot. And if that's something that you don't want to do, if you feel content with who you are, that's great, right? Own your story. But if you feel kind of restricted, or the clothes that other people are forcing you to put on doesn't feel like they fit, or doesn't feel like it's your style, step out. What's your wardrobe? What does your wardrobe look like? It's so funny. There's something that I even do. I'm, it starts subconsciously, but it happens consciously too. There are certain days, depending on what my mood is, I'll wear a certain color shirt because I don't want to necessarily draw attention to me. Like if I'm not in a space where I was like, I want to communicate or just like have, I want to be seen, I'll wear darker color shirts so I can blend in a little bit more. And it never works. It never works, right? But in my head, I'm like, oh man, this is who I am today. But overlooking the fact of like Isaiah, no, who you are is who you are every day. Yeah, there are different facets of who you are, but none of them kind of allow you to be quote unquote small, hidden. You're not meant to be that. In the humblest way possible, you are not meant to be small. Because if you were, you wouldn't be you would you wouldn't be your height, you wouldn't be your physicality, stature, you wouldn't be any of these things. If you were meant to be small, if you were meant to be insignificant, if that was your life's purpose, you wouldn't be who you are. And I extend that to you as well. If you were meant to be insignificant, you would not be who you are. So get more in tune and in touch with who you actually are versus the narrative or something that somebody else has given you in their story, not in your own. Okay? Just something I want you to think about. When it comes to character building, encouragement, and just kind of like awareness of self, It's cool to just look at the things that are familiar. It is cool to look at how you respond to unfamiliarity. I baked a cake over the weekend. It was a Halloween cake, and it was my first time doing like a decoration. However, I knew what I wanted it to look like, and I was very confident. As like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Even if it didn't come out to my standards, it was still something that was very much Isaiah. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I did it, right? And I was so immersed in doing it that I realized this is who I am. I create, and I like to bake by design. I like the process, and when people ask, they're like, "What do you like about baking and cooking so much?" It's like, you know what? I'm not really sure. It's just something that feels good to me, especially when I'm in a company of people that I want to share that with, right? It's different. And I know that that is a part of my character. It's not necessarily because a lot of times people don't even know that I do these things. So it's like it has nothing to do with somebody else's narrative of me. This is who I am. I love it. Amongst all the other things that I do. And everything that I do is more about Isaiah than what someone else expects of me. Um, it's funny. I see sometimes, or I hear sometimes, where people are like, "Oh, I don't see you as an actor, or I don't see you as somebody who writes horror stories, or I don't see you as somebody who does this." It's like that's not my problem. Get your eyes fixed. Get your eyes fixed. It's so interesting how near and far people are projecting their own thing onto you. And it has absolutely nothing to do with you. And it doesn't have to become a part of you. And usually those people may be people who are living for others. So therefore they project that onto you unknowingly. And they probably mean well. However, what's good for someone else or what's commonplace for someone else doesn't have to be for you. Okay? So just think about the narrative that you've been walking around with, right? How true is it to your character development? Okay? So, something to think about. Coaching is available starting in November. Sign up. Uh, yeah, let's get this work done. If this is something that you want to work on and learn more about yourself, let's get it done. Just be committed. And you will definitely find out some interesting things about yourself. Okay? Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take flight.